Welcome to the BFG podcast. I go by the name Eve.
Lomar.
Sway.
And welcome to the BFG podcast. Today, we have a special guest. You want to introduce yourselves to the
My
camera?
name's Katie. Mm-hmm. I own Hijabi shop, and I'm excited to be here today.
Nice.
Thank you.
So I want to get right into it. Like, what made you start your business? Like, what made you get into the hijabs, the hoodie hijabs?
So I honestly always had the heart of an entrepreneur. Like before I actually started this business, I had Kim Cosmetics beforehand. That started around like 2019. And before that, I was sort of always selling stuff. Like even in high school, I took my mom's EBT card and would get like big boxes of chocolate from BJ's.
Right.
Sell it at lunchtime. Before that, a little bit of stuff at elementary school, but makeup artistry started in like 2016. And I would take clients at 8 a.m. before classes start. I took clients in the middle of Chipotle in between my breaks or before work, which was kind of embarrassing. And then for this business specifically, the idea just came from me having a really, really deep love for streetwear and hoodies. That's what I wore every single day. If we look at like any pictures of me in high school, that's all I wore. Even in college, I would just put on like a little bonnet and like a Snuggie to go to class. And it all started on quarantine, though. Like, I was like, why aren't there hoodies that are made for hijabis? And since I've been through the process, like, several times of, like, finding manufacturers and, like, I was just kind of used to the cycle. I was like, I'll just do it because, like, that's the best way. You got to find the gap in the industry or what's missing and, like, try to produce that.
Right. Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
How did you find the template of doing it? Like, because I know it's just a little different because it's a hijab inside of a hoodie.
Yeah.
How did you put that together?
I honestly just sketched it. So, like, as a hijabi, I know what we like and what we don't like. And I automatically knew, like, okay, I need, like, a jersey material. I need something that's going to structure my face, sort of,
right,
and fit on, like, a glove. So I automatically knew, like, that was the way. And I always wore jersey hijabs. I was very anti-chiffon. If you're a hijabi, you know it slips off. It goes everywhere. Hoodies, pretty simple. We know how they're structured. So I basically knew, like, I needed to be sewn, like, into the neckline because when I wear hoodies with my hijab, I always have to like tuck it in, like the fabric is a little bit everywhere. So based off the sketches, I just started bringing it to people and then went from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like before when you was talking about like how you was like selling stuff in like middle school and high school and stuff, like so were you always just wanting to like invest money or was it like something else? Like why did you be like, all right, I'm about to do this?
The funny thing is my mom always thought like I was the opposite. Like she was like, you could never be an entrepreneur. Like that's not your thing. You can't sell. But this was like way back when I was younger because like I wasn't like a forceful seller. I wasn't like, oh, you need to get, like I wasn't that kind of person. Very calm. Let people come to you. And like, can you repeat the question? I did lose my chain of thought a lot. You said how did I like
how did you get into the mindset
wanting to okay. And so basically, it was always like solving a problem. So I had a deep love for makeup personally, and then someone came to me and was like, "Oh, you're going to do my makeup," and I was like, "I can't do other faces. Like you can't expect me." And she just like coerced me into doing it. But when I do stuff, I like to perfect it. Like my biggest fear is never reaching my full potential, and so I started researching like, oh, like what can I do? Like I cannot claim I'm a makeup artist until I can do every complexion and every skin type, and so it just became that. And then when I got to college, I wasn't working at Chipotle anymore. I needed a source of income, and I was not gonna look for a job in between classes. I wanted something at my own time, and so that became a big thing. Like my entire, my whole not personality, but my, what's that thing called? Like who you are changed when I got to college. Like I was known as like, oh, MK, makeup MK, the girl you go to get your lip gloss, your lashes. So like every single Greek party, every single campus event, if they posted a flyer, I would screenshot it and like put my logo. Oh, I'm selling today. Like every event I knew was payday. So it became like a cycle. Like in between classes, I'm taking clients. If there's a big event, I take off the entire day. I'm doing makeup from like 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. until the event. So it just became like, okay, this is my stream of income. I'm paying for bills in college without having to be somewhere. But then when like 2020 happened, I was like, okay, well, how can I make money without having to be there physically? So yeah.
How did you find those clients? Like how did you build that clientele basically?
Social media does a really, really big thing, but also if you just start claiming things, like if you can't like expect for other people to just see you as that and like come to you. Like I just started claiming that that's who I was. Like I'm your resource, and I just started posting consistently, and that's how people found me. So I was on my personal page posting makeup to get attracted to or get brands to be attracted to me and send me free products, and then I'd use those free products on my clients when I'm doing their makeup. And just all that posting, people just knew what I was. Like, you have to show up as what you want to be for people to know that that's who you are. Exactly. So, yeah.
So what's... We're going to go ahead.
No, you sound like real business savvy. You sound like a real hustler. But was there like any time that you felt like giving up, like on all your?
Oh, all the time, all the time. I mean, especially now that I'm doing it full time, there's been like a lot of periods. There's always setbacks. So with this business specifically, since it's like the main, you know, my very first drop was like March 30th of 2021, but promo started back in January. So I already like was getting all these tractions, all these email signups, and I released the 30th, but I wasn't getting my inventory until April. It was like 12-day difference. And so when the site was opening up and I realized like I had nothing. It was a very new thing for me. I didn't even know pre-orders were a thing. And I was in my kitchen, like my family was asleep, and I was downstairs in the kitchen, like literally going insane. Like when I tell you, I was holding on to the kitchen sink. I can't, like, why did I do this to myself? Like, why did I put myself out there? Like, why didn't I just go get me a job? Like, this is too much pressure. Like, I was actually like, you know. And so I did want to give up, but it was only a 12-day difference. Like, people do pre-orders for like 30 days in advance. Right. I obviously didn't know. It was very new to me, and I don't like disappointing my customers at all. So it was then. Even now, there's always periods. Like, I'll mention it here. Like, back in November, I had $12,000 worth of inventory stolen. I just moved to this place and stuff. Man. And so, like, it was a drop that I had already released, and like 2 weeks later is when it arrived and it got stolen, and I had to refund customers, and I had to ship out what I did have. And it was like I had like a 5-minute crying window, and then I was like, okay, well, I gotta package these orders, like my customers are waiting. And then obviously like later on still affected me and stuff, but there's tons of periods like that, like, don't get me wrong. But when I'm like, okay, why can't I just find something easy? There's no, like, I feel like once you start working for yourself, it's impossible to work for anybody else. It's really difficult.
Yeah, you used to your own time and everything. So how did you find like manufacturers and stuff? Because I know when it comes to clothing, it's hard to find those type of people that you trust.
Yeah. So there's like those traditional apps. There's like the Alibaba. There's another one, I forgot the name. But I actually started off on TikTok when I was researching. TikTok is like my search engine for everything.
TikTok has everything.
No, actually. And I originally found like a really good one in LA, but we didn't work out. Like, they had like multiple locations. I really tried to find some locally, like in Philadelphia, but again, it was like, this was December 2020. I was searching, they were all closed down. Like, nobody was, you know, I tried to like email them, nobody was doing any of that. Also, just straight up Google. Like, I feel like it helps if you add the city or like wherever you're looking for. Like, lately I've been looking into Korean manufacturers because I love, like,
I heard it's good over there.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, already, like, their fashion is already advanced. The way the proportions are, like, they know what they're doing, so why not go to people that know what they're doing? And I still do hunt for more because, like, it's good to have multiple. The person that I have, I feel like I'm stuck with them. I love them, but, like, I like having that, like, I like having options. And, like, they don't do everything that I want. There's a lot of things I want to pursue. So, definitely, yeah, Google, but it's the sampling process.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. So do they, like, send you samples, or you just...
So I always say, like, I plan on making a video. Like, you could start a business with like $200 or less because there's a lot that goes into it before you start bringing in the money. So samples on average are like, you know, like 150 to 180. So when I had first started, I was like, why are samples that expensive? I'm not doing that. It was a new thing to me. So I ordered one sample from the first person that accepted me because everybody kept turning me down when I sent them the picture of like what I was asking for. And they sent it and it was garbage. Like, it was really, really, really bad. Like, the hoodie was like here. Like, it didn't even come to our wrist. The hijab part was like a t-shirt fabric. It was really, really horrid. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this. And then my mom was actually the one that was like, okay, talk to other people. And I was like, well, they're charging me $180. That's worse. I'm going to waste more money. And she was like, no, just do it. Just do it. So I paid for it and I got the sample. It was perfect. And these are the people that I'm still working with to this day. So it's just, when you go about hunting these manufacturers, you just have to be very picky, but also request a lot from them because you're bringing your money. A lot of them will try to move fast and be like, okay, we can do ABC. Okay, pay now. Or we can do, no. Like, tell them what you want. I ask a lot for pictures, for qualifications, like making sure that they're actually like doing things the proper way. Ask a lot for a lot of stuff. And I always like, oh, I need a video of this. I need this. Can I see your factory? Can I see your previous work? Can I see how you do like rhinestones? I'm very like, I get on their nerves, but you got to do that.
So like for people that want to start this type of business, you will like recommend them to go to like what you say, Alibaba?
Yeah, there's Alibaba. That's like the traditional route. But the thing with that app is that it is very oversaturated. 1, 2, it's probably gonna take a long time for you to find the right people. That's the only thing about that app. But just make sure you're looking for manufacturers and not vendors, because like that's different. Like the vendors, it's usually it's not cut and sew. They just have like pre-made hoodies and you just print what you want. If that's what you want to do, that you can. But like obviously I had to go the manufacturing route. It's definitely like a lot more expensive because they're making everything from scratch. But still be picky even if you use that app. If you want to outsource, like I think I forgot what it's called. It starts with the S. There's what is it called? I'm trying to remember.
Shopify or
no, it's like a part of the world.
Singapore?
Not Singapore. I can't believe I just forgot. But there's a really good other parts of the world. Even Portugal, like they have great manufacturing there. Just look at different parts of the world. Like don't sleep on it because Alibaba doesn't have everything. They claim to have like. Don't do India and don't do Pakistan. Don't do that area because I had a hard times with them. But yeah, there's a lot of routes you can go. Just like Alibaba can be an easy start, but also you can, if you want to be very specific with your work, you can look at different parts of the world.
Do you have any problems with like scammers or anything?
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
So like with the manufacturing or like orders?
We could touch on both. But.
So I feel like with manufacturers, I haven't really had any scammers specifically, but I did reach out to they reached out to me. It was like a manufacturer in Pakistan, and it was like once they opened up that portal, so many of them started coming after me. But I reached out to them because they were like in my DMs nonstop. They found me on Instagram. You can actually find a lot of manufacturers on Instagram as well. But they were like, we need to work, like we could do this. And I was like, okay, fine, let me go to their website. And then I paid them, and something went wrong. And I don't know why. Then I paid them. He was like, oh, you can send it to my cousin in the UK on PayPal. And I was like, okay. And I just did it. Because I was like, okay, it's $250 for six different samples. Yeah. 6 samples for $250. You know how much of a steal that is? My manufacturer, some samples, they be trying to charge me $380.
Too good to be true.
I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. So I did it. When they were sending me the videos, just the company itself, I was like, okay. I'm not gonna judge. I'm gonna hope for the best. But I knew I wouldn't mass produce my items there because like it took them like over a month to produce. It took them a long time for 6 pieces. Imagine if I was ordering like hundreds. So then when they finally shipped it, even like I took out the packaging, I just was like, damn. It wasn't a good. Yeah. It
was empty box or was it?
No, it was. It
just wasn't good at all.
They did it, but it was just horrible. It was like the worst and worse. It was like. Just embarrassingly bad.
It took them like 6 months, right?
Yeah, it was really, really bad. So I was like, okay.
Like 2 days
so how would you know how to trust somebody? Like when it comes to the clothing?
Now, like every time I keep looking for new people, I always end up going back to my manufacturer because like I haven't per se been scammed with manufacturers, but they just don't match what I need. Like even one that I found, they were able to replicate the headpiece, but they can't get the hoodie right. So it's always like a little bit lacking. So I applaud my people for that. And when it comes to customers, with scams, I feel like with Shopify, they actually like flag orders. So if it's like a fraudulent order, it'll be like red, yellow, or just like fine. And sometimes you miss it though. Like it's just an L. Like even at the beginning of the year, I took a lot of L's. Like a lot of orders from Philadelphia would. And so like now when it's like a fraudulent order, I wait a long period to ship. I like to ship out right away, but I'll wait a little bit just so that the chargeback can process or just something. But it's still something to figure out. It still happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about like hiring employees?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That's like my dream. I have like 5 roles that I want to hire for.
Right.
I have a slideshow that I made of like each role, what they're gonna do. Like it's there. Like I want it, and so like I'm a big organizer. So like since I know what I want, I just put it there so that when I am ready, I already know.
If y'all want to learn from the best, man, tap in, man.
Thank you.
So I feel like with us, like we do the same thing. Like we like to be organized. Like,
yeah.
We have our schedules planned out. So.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's a big. It needs to happen. I feel like I'm nowhere without a business game plan, or like if I don't know what's happening for the week or for the day, it's very hard because there's no one telling you what to do. So you have to be organized and have something.
And I feel like that makes everything better too when you set little goals and plans.
Yeah.
There's no way I feel like you can lose at the end when you got everything organized,
mapped out.
Yeah, mapped out and everything. Yeah. So like, what's your toughest difficulties running the business? Like, what's oh my God, this is a lot. Like, this is difficult.
Yeah. I would say like one. I feel like everyone says this. It never ends. Like the amount of things that you need to do is a never ending list. It's figuring out how to balance where to put yourself and where not to put yourself. Because as an entrepreneur, it's very important to not do every little job. That's why hiring people is important. Like although I don't have full-time employees, I still hire people for stuff here and there. And yeah, like I used to look at people that used to be like, or rich people used to be like, oh, you can't do the little jobs. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do the little jobs. It's going to save you money. But in reality, the money you think you're saving, it's not saving you in the end, because you're taking away from where your time should actually be. And like hiring people to do things that you can't, like, know your strengths and hire someone else to do the rest, because you know what you're not good at and what you are good at. And you're going to hurt yourself in the end if you're trying to do everything a little bit everywhere. So
this March we're in Women's History Month. So do you feel like women in like the entrepreneurship industry, they get overlooked?
Oh, 100%. I feel like it's in the statistics already. They say that they're the least to actually get like business funding and stuff like that. And a lot of the times, women entrepreneurs, I wouldn't even say like in society, because now it's very normalized, but in your own community or in your own circle, people see the things you do as a hobby and not really like as a job. It's very hard to communicate the things that you have to do and like why you have to do it, because like I'm self-employed. You would think, oh, I can just do whatever every day of the week. But no, when I actually have things to do, it's like, well, why do you have to, it's very, and especially like from your own family, they see it as like, that shouldn't be your priority.
Right. Yeah, they look at it, they overlook it, yeah.
Be a woman in business and that be like your main thing. Because if it is, it's like, oh, well, you're not this because you're too busy worried about that. Like you're too worried about money, you're too, like, it's just like, they don't see that as thing it's not compatible, women in business, like,
Yeah, they don't know like you're passionate about that. But what advice would you give women who's trying to start like the business?
I would say, I mean, like, coming from women, I feel like you probably already hear this, but just leave your emotions out of it a lot. And I feel like I even need that reminder. But for like the little things, like I'm trying to think. Like recently, there was a really, really tough decision I had to make, and I didn't want to make it because it would hurt someone. And I should have made the decision a lot sooner, but I didn't make it because I was like, well, they really want to do this. Like, I should show up. But I was like, my business comes first, and it's not going to do me right, and it's not going to do my customers right. So I gave up. And I communicated that. And if I had left my emotions out, I would have explained that a lot sooner. I would have looked at what was in front of me and, like, made that decision. And also, even, like, the little things. Like, I feel like there's some days where I'll be on a rage. Like, I'll be on TikTok and the comments are, it's like a really, really bad day, and everybody's like, that's too much, that's too expensive. I'm like, oh, well, this and that cost and that and that and that, and I just start, I block people. I do, and I realize, like, no one cares. Like, not that no one cares, but, like, at the end of the day, things are always going to be expensive. Like, you could have $50 hoodies and people are going to say that's too expensive. Like, people are always going to have an opinion. It's not your job to change the opinion. Just do what you have and show up for the people that are interested.
Right. Yeah. So, like, when it's come to running a business, do you think it's important to have, like, a support system in the background, or do you think it's, like, better if you just do everything on your own?
Dolo.
Yeah.
I think you definitely need a support system. My worst habit is that I'm that kind of person. Like, I'm very, like, do everything on your own. Like, I don't need anyone. Like, before I graduated college, I always was like, I want to be self-sufficient. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. But no, I wouldn't be where I'm at with if it wasn't for my family and my friends. And even, like, prayer. Like, I didn't realize that that's what I need to rely on more than anything. Yeah. And I just thought it's just me in this world. Like, like, it's just me. But really, you need a support system. You need places to have your rants. There's a lot that you need, because, like, you're consistently pouring out and, like, you're consistently showing up. I gotta meet with this person and do that, but, like, you also need that as well. Like, you need a place to rest and not think about business, if that makes sense. So you definitely need.
So, like, if something going on, like, you got somebody to at least talk to or something.
Oh, 100%. And it's like, it's something I had to learn because I'm not used to that. Like, when things happen, I'm used to just shutting down, isolating, locking myself in a room for, like, the whole day. And there were some periods where I would be, like, stressed, really, really stressed out. And the funny thing is, my mom was who I talked to the most about my business. And there was one day where she, like, saw, like, things were affecting me, and she tried to come speak to me. And I remember, like, I can't do it right now. Just exit the room. I can't do that right now. When really, like, that's what I did need. But I'm not used to just, like, sitting there and, like, expressing emotion. So you definitely need that.
All right, let me ask you this. How do you, like, juggle your business life with your personal life? Like, how do you keep a balance with it?
So I feel like I'm very much a big self-care girl. And, like, I feel like my personal life isn't crazy to juggle anyways. Like, I'm very nonchalant, very, there's not much happening. There's not, you know, they say like, oh, you're so out of the mix here. It's too peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Like, I like a very simple life, and I feel like my business is what I love the most. Mm-hmm. It does get hard again when it comes to decision making, and I don't know. I think I do have a good balance, but like, I'm trying to find examples. Sometimes I feel like I can't rest though. Like, I feel guilty with when there's rest. Like, I feel like, oh, I need to give more. I consistently have things to do. Like, you just don't know how. Like, I remember saying when I first moved out, it was very hard to figure out what I even needed to do. Like, I was like in a weird phase. Like, I was doing nothing because I had a lot to do for my business, but I didn't know where to start. And that's why like the business game plans are important. And so it is very hard to just like not think, not relax. But if you know you're putting in your most, then you know you should be able to convince yourself that it's okay. So
you feel like at this point, like, your business basically is your personal life, like, in a way?
Honestly, because it's like my entire personality trait. But it's like it's what I think about, it's what I care about, it's what I love the most. I feel like the only time it mixes when I'm too focused on just showing up for my customers and stuff instead of like focusing on what's happening in real life. Like, I put that above all else. Like, I don't care what's happening, I don't care where I'm at. Like, even if I'm struggling financially, everything that I get, I want it to go back into the business. Like, I want everything to go back in because there's so much that I want. But I'm always in a state of inspiration. I'm always, like, on Pinterest scrolling. I have, like, too many ideas. Like, I have too many collections that I'm waiting on. It's too much sometimes, but it's what I enjoy. So it's not.
Yeah, I feel like if you're passionate about something, you don't really look at it like.
It's a hobby.
Yeah, it's a hobby. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
And they say it's unhealthy, but I haven't gotten to a point where it's like I'm not like crazy hustle culture. Like, no, you get your hours of sleep, get your breakfast, don't answer emails before 9 a.m. Like, take care of yourself so you can show up even better. So like, I think that's why I'm not like a crazy obsessive hustle wake up 5 a.m. every day.
Yeah. Run 10 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a cold shower. So you feel like like that help you like keep like your mental in check, like not stress out too much? Like, do you feel like that helps?
I think that is actually a big factor. So the whole like stress out thing, it still happens, but again, like, now that I repeat to myself like what's meant to be, what happened, if it's written, like, I just leave everything to Allah, and that helps me. Like, when things are really bad, I'm like, okay, I'm not dealing with that.
Can I ask you a question though? How does the negative comments does that like affect you any type of way when it comes to your brand?
Honestly, the only thing, like I said, like, there was like this one period where I was like raging about the expensive comments because it was a lot, but I don't think there's that many negative comments. The only thing that I look out for, I don't like when people target my models. Or like, they're like, oh, like, this isn't that, and I'm like, these people are just paid to be here. Like, it's not, you don't know where they're at. Some people that model for me are not even hijabis. Like, you don't even, so like, I don't worry about it from my end. I worry about it from my models' ends and like people that work for me or like, you know, because it's like, come on, like, I don't want them to see those. I don't want them to see those comments and be hurt.
Do you reply?
I delete the comments. I delete the comments.
Yeah, you want to see that negativity.
You be like, all right, let me just.
Because we get that too sometimes.
No, I am good at that. I'm good at like not like arguing people back and forth. It only happened with the price thing. I mean, say, oh, quality this, a little bit, but besides that, I'm very good at like not arguing people because.
People gonna hate you if it's good or not, regardless.
All press is good press.
It's a part of the game,
So when they like critique like your material, do you ever get like motivated to like just grind harder? Like,
critique material, like the product itself, or like my
the product itself.
So, alhamdulillah, I haven't really gotten much critique when it comes to the product itself. I feel like, for women's, it's pretty good. For men's, it can be a little. I just remembered it's very different from my men's side versus women. Men's are actually very, very opinionated. They do. Surprisingly. So it does make me want to change things. So like for women, I feel like it took a while, but I did kind of perfect the products. People are happy with it. I do some tweaks here and there. They might not know. But for men's, it makes me want to change stuff even more because you're getting free reviews. You're getting free information. Like like people are literally telling you what they want. And that's actually helpful. So I actually do like being critiqued.
Yeah, for the men's, I don't think we touched on that. For the people that don't know, isn't that the hoodie with the mask, correct?
Yeah. So I just changed a lot because a lot of people were saying it's similar to the hijab version and like don't really know how to adjust it. Like it's kind of like DIY. So I changed it to be opposite. So like the women's is still the same. For men's, it's like a regular traditional bali attached to it now,
So
instead of like
men
a
are
whole
lazy,
like.
basically.
Yeah, but I understand because like I see where they're coming from. Like, oh, it's too much forehead, or a little bit of this stuff. So I make some changes. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to entrepreneurs? Like what's the best advice you give to entrepreneurs?
I'm trying to think.
Upcoming
Great
entrepreneurs.
question. Upcoming entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
The only difference between where you're at and where you want to be is literally consistency. Like the people that you see doing the things that you want to do, even if some of them have like a rich family or come from a specific background, there really is not much special about them. The reason why they are where they are is because they show up like nonstop. The people you see, like their faces, they're not like the craziest looking people or anything like that. People are familiar with them. They show up. You got to show up as as yourself and who you want to be every single day. Like you can't like I said earlier, you can't expect people to see that, oh, I'm a makeup artist, until you show up like that. Like just start claiming it like it's yours. So yeah,
I feel like that's where everything in life, even if it's not like business wise,
exactly,
like just being consistent. Like I feel like that's like the best thing in life in general.
Yeah, like if you say for someone who don't pray, like just start praying, a couple prayers throughout, and then eventually
no thoughts, no nothing. Yeah, exactly. Even if the focus not there, just jump into it. And it's gonna become a habit. And you're gonna get used to it.
Being consistent, I feel like that's the blueprint for everything.
Exactly.
Like, there's no way around it. You gotta be consistent and patient.
It's very basic. Like. And another thing I will say is to not think small. Think big about everything in your life, because you're not limited as you think you are. You can make dua for anything. And I feel like a lot of the times people don't think about the bigger picture. You're very focused on showing up for the little followers, not little followers, but like the people that watch your story. They're not important. The people that they are important. I'm saying, like, don't focus on like who you were. Focus on who you want to be and where you want to be, and think very, very, very big. So yeah.
So how do you stay away from not stay away from? How do you you know how people that shut your dreams and like, nah, you can't do it. It might not work. You know how people that be like, yo, that can't work.
Oh yeah.
So how do you juggle with that? Because you tell like our parents, right? For instance, you like, I want to do this. And they be like, oh, go to college, get a degree. That's the safe way. You see what I'm saying?
100%.
So how do you? So how do you like juggle that?
I feel like now, especially, I'll just use my parents as an example. Anything they say, I take it very lighthearted. Like I just laugh at it. Like I don't even. They're not like we get along. They're not like bad parents or anything. Yeah. But like when they try to throw it in there, like, oh, you got your degree, you get a job. I'm just like, or I remember one time I came to my mom's house. She was doing hair. She was like, oh, my daughter just graduated. She's looking for a job. I was like, oh, I'm self-employed. And like I just like throw it in there. So like they try. I feel like with my parents, I've like sort of warmed them up to it. When it comes to parents, it takes a lot. You have to like literally, what's that word called?
Like show them.
Like show them the results, right?
Yeah, you have to like warm them up to it. Like even with me moving away for college, like obviously Westchester's not that far, but I had to warm them up to it. I had to like get them used to it. And I feel like I'm very slick with that. And so with this, it's like they've been seeing me do this my whole life. But it was hard though. It was like two things at one time: graduating, not getting a job, moving out. It was like, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna tell my family back home? What am I gonna tell the WhatsApp warriors? I'm like, I don't really care.
The WhatsApp warriors.
Exactly. It's really not that important. Don't really care. So yeah, warm them up to it. Don't take their words literal. They're talking to you in a state of fear. And we all heard before, like the saying, like people can't imagine for you what they can't imagine for themselves. So if you know you have it and you have that grind, you're gonna show up for yourself, not to impress anybody else. You're gonna make it happen. Not on their terms, and to get their approval. Make it happen because you got things you want to do. You got goals.
That's the quote of the day, man. That's the quote of the day.
So like on a earlier podcast, we was talking about like college and like whether we think is a scam. So like, what do you think about college? Like,
this is gonna be interesting because
you moisturize my lips before I answer.
Yeah, you good, man.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, because you're an entrepreneur, so I want to see what you say about.
You've done it all.
Yeah, so I want to see what you say about this.
You said you went to Westchester, right? What was your major?
I'm sorry. I majored in communication studies, and then I minored in international business and human resource management.
Okay.
I actually went in doing business, and then the prerequisites, I was like, I'm not, because like it was a lot of math. That's not my strength. Right. And like I said, if you know your strengths. And you know your weaknesses, hire somebody else to do the rest. Numbers are not my thing. You can be in business even if you're not good at numbers. And so I switched to comm, but like at the end, when I added in those minors, I got to take the business courses that I enjoy without doing all that. But in terms of like if it's a scam or not, I wouldn't say it's a scam because again, it depends on your major. Obviously, it's rough for us right now. Like anybody, regardless of your major, finding a job, America is just a mess right now.
The
it doesn't matter what exactly. It's really really bad. But I do appreciate my college experience only because it grew me. It also showed me who I could be and what I wanted to be. Like, it only made me become even more of an entrepreneur. Like, I was having pop-ups all the time. I would leave class. I would book a table in, like, the lunchroom under BSU, or I wasn't even a part of it, but I would use their name to book a table and show up and start selling stuff. Even, like, again, outside events, I'd book tables and be selling stuff. When I tell you, when events happened, it was payday. Like, I already knew I was going to make a good amount of money. So it helped me a lot, but I don't use my degree. So I don't know.
So
like,
basically, like the time at college was useful, but the degree and the education itself is not useful.
It wasn't useful. Like, I even said, like, college, your degree does. I always said this even when I first started. Like, college is not important. Your degree does not matter. College is a 4-year race of who can network the best. Like, that's really what's the most important. But even with the networking, I don't think.
But I feel like people use college like as a like 100% safety net. I'm not.
It's not though.
I feel like college is good. I'm be honest. Even though I didn't go to college, me personally, I went to trade school.
Yeah.
But I feel like college
really
is like
too,
I feel like college is not a bad thing. But I feel like you gotta go for at least.
I would never in my
STEM.
life,
You gotta be in STEM. I feel like.
I would never in my life tell somebody not to go to college, but I will say don't make your entire personality trait. Like, we always say, like, America sold you a dream. They told our parents, you go to school, you get a job, you're gonna be set. They made that promise. That promise is not holding up anymore. So make sure outside of school you're making things happen for yourself. Have a security blanket. Do stuff on the side so that when you do graduate, you know what's good. If you're gonna make college your security blanket, at least secure a job before you graduate.
Exactly.
Like, make your goal to know what you're gonna do after college before you even get there. Don't graduate and like, okay, what's next? Because it's not gonna.
Especially because the cost of college too.
Exactly.
Like, it's so expensive. It's like if you go through all of it and end up not finding a job.
Exactly.
And now you have to look for a whole nother thing to do. It's like now you're in a messed up
And in
situation.
that way, people do say it's a scam, but I think. I still will tell people to go, but it is a scam if you just go there and expect it to you're good just because you go to college.
Yeah, people think it's just like a safety net, bro. Like, people.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't got nothing to do at all, it's like, all right, let me go see if I can find something there, because like you don't have nothing.
I'm gonna say this though, it's safer than not just having a high school diploma. I'm gonna say that for sure.
Yeah.
You don't think that's true?
I think it's true, because if you got a high school diploma and you're not going to like trade school or starting a business or finding something out there that you can do, it's like, all right, there's literally nothing to do. I might as well go to college, see if I can find some type of passion. Because you might go to college and find like some other stuff. And then you can drop out and then be like, all right, I want to do this instead. But if you're just staying out of college and not doing nothing at all, it's like, bro, what you going to do?
I funny thing is, I even will say college was my security blanket. Because let's say I went to high school and just didn't go to college at all. I would have had to then go through the stress of figuring life out very early. Yeah. With those extra 4 years, I got to just live life, do my business, no bills due. I'm in college. I was an RA, so I was getting paid to be there on my own room. So I had that freedom to make a lot of mistakes and know, like, okay, now I'm stable. Now I've built myself up. So it kind of was like my extra. It wasn't my game. It wasn't my end game, but it gave me more time.
Let me ask you a question, right? Are you chasing like financial freedom? Like, is it something that you're chasing when it comes to your business? Do you want to like basically like be set? For me, it's right. Let me put it. I don't want to be working for somebody for the rest of my life and just be 65 and retired. Yeah. I just that's the quote unquote American dream. I don't want to live like that. So
I think
what do you think about
100%.
that?
Financial freedom has always been the goal. I think a lot of people are starting to realize that.
Yeah.
People are starting to realize like nobody wants to work for the rest of their lives, to get a little bit of a break each year, and like they realize these jobs don't genuinely care about you because they replace you like very 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 quickly, regardless of where you are and regardless of how much they actually like you. So it will be financial freedom and generational wealth. I feel like coming from a West African background, I was the first to graduate, and like my entire family that moved here, so that already was like an accomplishment. But I also want to see just major things for us. Like, I feel like me becoming an entrepreneur has also like sprinkled around, because like my mom is starting to read books. Like she read she listens to Rich Dad Poor Dad, so her mentality is changing. She be telling me stuff. I'm like, where are you learning this stuff? And she's like, oh, we need to get into real estate. My little sister is like amazing. She can do a little bit of everything. She can crochet. She can make like natural shea butter from like with stuff imported from Ghana. She can do literally. She braids hair. She makes bank as a high schooler. So she's already there. Like, she's catching up to, like, where she's supposed to be at. So I really like that they had that mentality, but they're also great at keeping up with their grades. And, like, you know, so I want my entire family to have that, and, like, the ones after me. Because I'm the eldest of 7. So, like, I want them to be well off as well, so.
So, you said you got, like, a little sister, and she's starting to do her own thing, too. Do you feel like since you already been through it, and you was the one that was overlooked, and you made your parents, like,
yeah, 100%.
Like, you took the fire, basically.
Yeah, 100%. It's always like that. I know she's gonna hate to hear it, but I always say I'm the blueprint. But also, you make things easy for the ones after you. So now that it's still complicated because, like, we're different, and they're like, oh no, you can't, you know, but they understand what she's doing now. They understand, like, you can make money without having a job. Like, they get it now. Even like when I worked at Chipotle, and they were like, no, you can't get a job. Now they're trying to find her a job. I'm like, what about me? What about me?
Yeah,
like,
it was hard. It was harder back then.
Exactly.
Like, everybody getting smarter. Yeah.
Like me, when I decided to go to, like, CCP, my friends were like, no, why you gonna go to 4 years? And then my little brother, you going to CCP, right? Like, yo, like, when I did it, it was the worst thing on earth.
It's like you break the shackles for them.
Yeah. I feel like our generation is more creative too. I feel like
100%.
I feel like we way more creative. Like, we are ahead of our time.
Like, they don't like.
It's hard for them to see that.
It's new.
Yeah, because we got digital now, bro. Like, like what she do, you sell all off the internet, right?
Yeah,
all off the internet, bro.
Yeah.
And plus, like, we super young, so it's like when they see, like, a young person doing it, they're like, nah, like, something ain't right.
Yeah.
So like,
especially African parents, they only know one way. That's the thing. They be one of the best for us though, so I can't really get mad at them.
Like, you just gotta show it to them.
Once they see you succeed, then that's when they get comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, they only know one way. Yeah.
But I want to go back to as you were growing up. Was it difficult for you to cover, or did you always cover?
So I started wearing it at 16, and a lot of family members were like, well, why were you forced? And I was like, I wasn't forced. And surprisingly, I started wearing it before my mom. I started wearing it before everybody. So it was kind of nice to see it, like, trickle down and see other people also start wearing it. I don't know. It's kind of like inspiration, I guess. And when I went to college, I think it got a little harder. I started to... In high school, it's like people already knew me. Like, oh, that's KD. Like, they already knew how I was, what I was. When I went to university, people didn't know me. And so it was very, I felt like people were, not intimidated, but, like, I felt like people weren't, like, comfortable around me wearing my hijab. And I was like, well, I'm cool. Like, I'm just, I'm just that girl.
Look at her and be like,
you know,
easy to talk
exactly.
Like,
and, like, obviously I just started college. I didn't like that. I wanted to be, like, accepted in a specific way. Now I'm like, okay, like, there's more respect when you're hijabi, which I love. Like, I appreciate that. So, like, it did fluctuate a lot. Like, I had my little, like, back bun periods, my edges periods, a lot of things. It also has to do with makeup. I thought brands wouldn't want to see a hijabi. Like, I didn't see a lot of hijabis in the beauty world, especially for where I wanted to be. I wanted to be on every PR list. I wanted to be doing brand deals. So I wanted to feel more approachable. So it did fluctuate. And then it wasn't until, like, my very last year. I think COVID changed a lot for a lot of people. But when I went back to school, I was like, I'm not going back to that person I was. I'm not doing that anymore. And Ramadan of 2021, is that when I graduated? 2022 Ramadan was when I was like, okay, I want to really just start wearing abayas to go to class. And I had never worn an abaya in my 4 years of university, never. And I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And I'll make, like, little jokes. Like, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna wear an abaya tomorrow to my friends. I'm gonna wear an abaya tomorrow, guys. Like, I'm gonna be walking around. The white kids won't think I'm a terrorist. Like, I was like a Leo. Like, especially in my business class, it was me, all white boys, literally, like Chad, Brad, and it was very difficult. Very difficult because it's like, I'm me, and, like, corporate America, you gotta shake hands, you gotta do a lot. So it was very, very hard to, but I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and it wasn't even that big of a deal. I hyped it up to be more than what it was, but it wasn't that.
Yeah, most of them is even me. Like, sometimes I'll be at work and I'll pretty fudge like at work, and they just be like.
Exactly.
I'll tell them. They're like, "Oh yeah, I understand."
There was this one time I was, like, walking to class, and this random white boy was like, "Oh, you look so beautiful," and I was like,
"Yeah."
I think he said "Happy Ramadan." I was like,
"Happy Ramadan."
They used to say that to me.
Yeah, when they see you with the thobe on, like, you got a dress on. I'm like, no, it's not a dress, bro. It's a thobe.
It was not that bad.
Somebody
so
asked
then,
me that.
yeah.
Somebody got dressed up.
Pastor, because
No.
you know the those with the collars.
No, it was one day, right? I was at a body shop on Juma. I went after Juma. I went. I had my thobe on, and then the next day I went to the body shop, and the guy he pulled me to the side. He was like, "Yeah, yesterday I saw you. You was wearing like a I don't want to be rude, a dress." I was like,
A dress.
What are you really talking about?
They don't be know it.
They don't know.
But like, how did your friends react? Like your close friends, were they like?
So they all like when I first started wearing it. So when I first started wearing it was in high school. The funny thing is, a lot of them were like, "Oh, you actually look better with the hijab."
Oh,
So it wasn't even.
Yeah,
They're like, "Oh, like I actually like it." Like it wasn't nothing crazy. I feel like also they were the ones that had the questions as well, like that had my thoughts circulating. They were like, "Oh, like how come you wear hijab like on Saturdays?" But like when I go to Arabic school, but like when you come to school, so so they were already confused, but there wasn't no bad reactions. They already knew me as a Muslim. They knew what So yeah.
So, what advice would you give to younger Muslim girls who have who struggle with covering?
Especially in the Western society, it's way harder with the social media. Even my little sister, she just started like wearing it. So like, what advice would you give to like the little girls?
I think number one would be not to listen to people that don't understand Islam's opinions. A lot of the times, I sort of took it in. Like when I was going through my whole feminist phase, it was like, well, how come you have to cover and men don't? Why do you have to hide yourself? Like I would listen to that and like sort of take it in, but in reality, your hijab is like the power that you hold. That sounds so cliche, but you get to choose what people do and can't see. When you're walking around society, you choose who has access to you. Like, that's, like, next level bougie. Like, you literally, like, it's your choice. That's one. And two, I feel like there was a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't allowed to even claim the title hijabi because I wasn't wearing it properly. I'm grateful because my product actually, I don't just sell it, but it actually helped my journey as well because I got to get used to seeing myself with proper hijab. Like, I had to have it fully on. It looks weird if you try to push it back, So it kind of helped a lot. So don't be afraid to claim yourself as a hijabi. Like, it's not for specific people. Like, people think you have to be the perfect Muslim to start practicing Islam when Islam is not for the perfect. You have to, it's for people like you. So, yeah.
So when it comes to like the Hoodjabi, the hoodie and everything, was your main goal to help hijabis like feel more comfortable in certain situations or?
Oh, 100%. So originally, it was just to make the lives of hijabis easier. Like, there's obviously the love for streetwear aspect, but just like going out the door, just like how people grab a bonnet to go outside. That's how it's supposed to feel. It's supposed to be very easy for you to go out and like not have to overthink it, and like it's the little things that get in the way that make you not want to be a hijabi. You do something one day, it's a really bad day, you get frustrated. Like it's like somebody brushing their hair, it's not coming out right. Same thing with your scarf. You walk out the house and it comes all lopsided, you get annoyed by it, and you feel like. I used to think my hijab was like my biggest enemy. I thought it was my barrier. I thought it wasn't going to give me access to doors. I thought it would be harder to get a job. I thought a lot. It's crazy because now it's like all I care about and like my entire identity. But it used to be a very hard thing to deal with. So that was the original idea. But now I see it for a lot of different things. And it's like really surprising because I thought it was really dumb. Like I was like, okay, I'm not doing it. Like it doesn't exist because it's not that important. But a lot of non-hijabis, they use it to transition. And I get like a lot of DMs about that. And it's like very shocking. People who are just uncomfortable walking around like actually wearing hijab like that, they just like wear it because it feels like they're wearing a regular hoodie. There's a lot of non-Muslims that wear it for a lot of different reasons. Bad hair days, working out. What did someone say?
That's real interesting.
Someone said, I forgot what it's called, there's some type of thing, like, I can't remember, but there's a medical condition that can bother people and like it helps them, and I really had no idea. So it's very surprising at different purposes. So yeah. So
like, what was the initial reaction you got from like? So when you came up with the product, did you post a picture like, oh, this is coming soon? Oh, I remember. So basically, because like I said, I previously was in business. I still have it too. Like the very first thing that I did was I made like a business game plan. Like before I even got into production. Once I got that sample that was good, it was like the next day. I had like a whole Canva slideshow. I was like, I'm not doing the same mistakes this time. My first business, I did like everything on the low. I said nothing. I just made an Instagram page and boom, I launched. I know people will worry about evil eye. I know there's like a regular way that you go, but that's not how you're supposed to go in business. You have to obviously make things happen first, like know that you're actually going to do it. And
take the steps to build the community first. Get an email list. Start posting. Get people used to your presence. Ask questions. People care about the journey more than anything when it comes to business. Like, they need to see the behind the scenes and how you got to where you got to, because like it makes them feel like they're a part of it, and like their opinions, they you know, they just love that. They eat it up, especially on TikTok. You know, you always see like the whole behind the scenes, like I started here, then I got here. People, they want to see that. So I made like the whole business game plan. My goal was to get 10,000 email signups before I launched, to get I think 10,000 followers, and there's a lot of numbers. I had like how many releases and how many colors. I had everything detailed, like my TikTok page, everything. And the first thing I did was make a tweet, and it was like a picture of the sketch, a picture of the outcome, and I was like, did I just create the world's first hoodie hijab? Yes, I did. And I knew it was going to eat, so I went to bed. I always do that. So I went to sleep, and I woke up. It was like 30K the first day, 30K retweets.
Wow.
And I also posted the TikTok, 100K when I woke up. And I was like,
one.
the very first TikTok that I posted, I was like, yeah.
Famous.
That's so funny. But yeah, but I didn't expect it to reach that number the first day, because that was like my close to drop goal. But if you really know that sometimes you have to like fake it till you make it, and like what you put out, like the way you project yourself is how people are going to receive you. So the way that I was like, yeah, this is going, yeah, and then I went to bed, that's probably why I got that reaction.
So when you woke up and seen it, was you like, all right, it's done, I'm cool, like I already made it, or was you like, all right, I'm not there yet?
I ain't there yet. I got to drop these hoodies now.
So honestly, as much as I was like, yeah, it's going to do well, it also came with a lot of pressure, because Twitter, the opinions, not just the opinions, but people were kind of checking me in a good way. They were like, oh, they gonna steal this idea tomorrow. Y'all so dumb. Y'all never want to go protect yourselves. Y'all just too, you know. So I was like, oh, yeah, I do need a patent. So then I started to like brush up, and like very quickly, it put me on my toes, and I had to start researching for a very long time for attorneys and
trademarking,
protection. Actually, patent was my first goal, not even trademark. I wasn't even worried about that. It was just the design that I cared about.
The LLC and
oh yeah. I did that in February by myself in my dorm. I was worried about like just the design itself. That was my biggest thing. And I ended up finding an attorney, but it was a lot. Like he was like I don't know. And then I ended up finding like an actual company. Bold Patents, I shout them out. They did a great job, brought me along my journey. It's incredibly expensive, but I will say it's worth it, because people, when it comes to business, you have to protect yourself legally. People are always going to find a way. Puma stole my design, so now I'm going through stuff with them as well.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's annoying. That's why I say there's a lot of times that you just want to give up. And
like,
they were smart about it.
Same thing?
So they did like an active wear version. It's still like the hijab, but the hoodie, I actually bought it. Very trash quality. I'm not just saying that because it's my product. But like, you know, when it comes
Puma, y'all crazy, man.
You know, it's disappointing though, because they never advocated for the modest community. Like, you know, if it was Nike, I'd be proud. But like Puma has never really been that kind of person.
So you feel like they just did it just for like money type thing?
Yeah, and they also they also use the same name, so it's very obvious.
I don't understand why
it's called Hoodjabi too.
It's called the Hoodjob. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't understand why those big companies don't like reach out so y'all can collab. Like, I don't understand.
And that's the thing. They actually did that intentionally. So I actually have been speaking to like attorneys, and they said like moves that big brands make are calculated. You have a patent, so if they reach out to you, they have to pay you like royalty. They have to like, you know, so it's either they pay you and like work with you and ask for permission to like rent your patent, or they ignore you and use it, and you come after them legally, but they know that that's expensive, so they probably looked at you and were like, yeah, she's not, you know, because it is very just to exchange emails to ask them to stop is like a lot before you even go to court. It's
So was he basically saying, like, always protect yourself, man? When y'all get into business, protect yourselves, because some of these bigger brands steal your ideas without letting y'all know, basically.
It happens all the time. We're very used to it, but yeah.
So I saw that like you talked about TikTok, Twitter. So I saw that you were like a content creator, and you're on YouTube. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I always had like a deep love for YouTube. Like, I feel like growing up, that was what I spent all of my time on. YouTube was where I get a lot of my information too. Like a lot of my research. Like when I first started my old businesses, I learned from YouTube. When I learned makeup, I learned from YouTube, from Aaliyah J specifically, and I started creating back then, like in 2014, but I wasn't wearing hijab, so I took it down. So I always was like back and forth with it, very wishy-washy. And then at the end of my 4 years, I was like, okay, I just went through all this, and I didn't record anything. Like, I was on TikTok and stuff, but I didn't actually like record. I was like very disappointed. So I was like, when I graduate, there's no excuses. Like, I'm actually gonna take it seriously. So now I feel like changing my mindset around it is what helps. Like, I don't see it as like I gotta show up and I gotta be perfect and this and that. Like, it's just a personal diary. Right. If I, the more I post, the better. I'll get better gradually. But if I don't start posting, I'm not going to see what's good and what's bad. I'm not going to get better. So now it's just like just post and see where it's going to take you.
Okay,
I seen your YouTube, and I actually like your videos.
Really? Thank you.
I checked it out.
So, like, how was it? Like, was you always, like, a confident person? Or was it, like, something like, all right, I got to step out my comfort zone to start posting videos and doing all this content stuff?
I feel like it's a thing that it honestly goes back and forth. Like, honestly, like, I remember I've been hearing a lot of discussions now. Like, now posting on Instagram is, like, so cringe and, like, so difficult. But, like, I don't know, because, like, sometimes I take pictures and now I see it as, like, okay, I want to post, I can move on to the next thing. Like, I hate dwelling on numbers. I hate posting and, like, being like, oh, like, this didn't do well. No, like, once you hit post, you're done. You got to worry about what's the next post. You got to get on to the next thing. So when it comes to Instagram, if I'm, like, taking pictures, I'm hurry up and posting so I can delete it off my camera roll. I like to keep my camera roll full of storage. So I'm, like, and then there are some days, like, everybody has those days where you just, like, lose all confidence. You're like, oh, I don't belong here, or, like, this is cringe. But then it's like, okay, and, I mean, tomorrow's not promised. Do what you say you want to do, and be happy about it, like, Right.
All right, so, what's next in your business? Like, what you got, like, up and coming things? Like,
what's next? And, like, my, like, number one goal is, like, consistent drops. There's definitely been a lot of setbacks. Like, I told you guys about the inventory. I told you guys about Puma. So I'm, like, rebuilding a lot. My last official drop was, like, November. And man. Exactly. And, like, thank God, like, I had, like, other inventory around to, like, keep me, afloat. But I also have been learning a lot behind the scenes because it's like a never-ending learning process. There's no business guidebook. Every single day is on-the-job training. So there's a lot of things that I have to learn and a lot of mistakes that I'm still making. Like this week. It's Sunday, right? I've been watching videos on like how to get more affordable shipping for my international customers. On average, they spend about like $25 for 7 to 21 day shipping with USPS. Horrible, very horrible. And then they spend like 35 plus for UPS if it's like 3 to 5 days or less. And now I've been doing research on how are people shipping out orders for like $12 to UK? How is that happening? So, it was a lot of things. And I did discover some resources and stuff. And yeah, just like brushing up, figuring out ways how to show up better. That's like my number one priority always.
Okay, so you want to tell the viewers where they could grab your clothing at?
Yeah, so you can find me at Hoodjabi Shop on every platform. Also, the Hijabi Vlogger on every platform.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Got great guests.
We appreciate you
for coming on, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys on the next one.